What's going on? Dante562. Want to go ahead and talk about the fucking news that took 3 months for Manny Pacquiao to release, which is who his next opponent is going to be. Not for November 10th, not for December 1st, but now for December 8th. Okay? I'm going to do a little bit of a rundown on somewhat of a prediction how the fight will play out. But the first thing I want to talk about is why Manny Pacquiao chose to fight Marquez a fourth time. Okay? I feel it's real important to get this out the way right away because I want to shut you Pacquiao fans down right away. You feel me? When I say I want to shut you down, what I basically mean is if we clear this shit up right now, there should be no reason for you guys to send me the exact same message after we've already talked about this. And I know what I'm talking about makes complete sense. Okay? I know it makes sense. Like I said, you gotta go ahead and you gotta take those pride glasses off, and you just have to fucking make common sense with the situation. Let's start right now. Okay. Why is Manny Pacquiao deciding to fight Marquez? Now, we already know it only makes common sense that Pacquiao looks for the easiest opponent so that he can secure a bout with Floyd Mayweather in the future, should Floyd Mayweather come back. Now, I know right now, Pacquiao fans, you're listening and you're saying, how do you know that Pacquiao was looking for the easiest way out? Maybe Pacquiao was looking for the hardest fight. You know, maybe because I got these messages constantly from Pacquiao fans. You know, Marquez was his hardest, his most difficult opponent. Bradley, he beat him easy. A guy just sent me this message the other day. Bradley was completely shut out by Pacquiao. But Marquez was the hard, difficult opponent that gave Manny problems. That's exactly what the message was that I got the other day, right? So, okay, let's just go off of that. Let's go off of that logic, okay? Let's look at things from a Manny Pacquiao fan's perspective. Let's say it's true. Marquez was difficult as fuck. Bradley, easy as fuck, right? See, but if you go off of that theory, then you would be forced to answer the question, why was Manny Pacquiao's first choice of opponent Miguel Cotto at a catchweight? How can you answer that question without lying to yourself? How can you answer that question without being completely honest to your own self? It's impossible. You would have to be honest. Because listen to what you're saying, Pacquiao fans. Listen to what you're saying by your own admission. You're saying Bradley looked like shit. Manny Pacquiao beat him easy. It was a landslide, etc., etc., etc. I'm sure both you and me can agree that Manny Pacquiao, he beat Miguel Cotto far more decisively than he so-called beat Miguel Cotto. Correction, I mean Tim Bradley, right? I mean, that's really not even up for debate, is it? If you watch boxing, it's not up for debate. Okay? Miguel Cotto was knocked down twice. Miguel Cotto, he was beat to a pulp. He was TKO'd. The longer the fight went on, the more Miguel Cotto started to gradually break down. Was that the case with Tim Bradley? See, I'm trying not to go too much into what happened in the Tim Bradley fight anymore because at this point, talking about who won the first fight is irrelevant now. The only thing that matters and the only questions that matter is why didn't this man fight Bradley in a rematch? Why did it take Pacquiao this long to make a decision of who he was going to fight? Right? I'll make a small comparison, Bradley to Cotto. Number one, Bradley, after the fourth round, like I've always said, Bradley, he seldomly ever got hit with the left hand. Every single round in that fight, people, for the people who say that this fight was a shutout, this fight was a landslide, you are fooling yourself with your own biased love for Manny Pacquiao. Okay? Because almost every single round in that fight, it was Bradley who initiated, started off fast. Even rounds that Bradley lost, he won at least the first minute or the first 2 minutes of the round. This was the pattern of the whole fight. Pacquiao would wait for the last minute of the round, and he would come back and he would do something. Sometimes he would land, sometimes he wouldn't land at all. And Jim Lampley and HBO, they would just say he landed. Okay? Unlike Miguel Cotto, Tim Bradley got stronger as the rounds went on. That's that determination that I always talk about that certain special fighters, I believe, have. Okay? Two injured ankles. And who finishes stronger? Tim Bradley finishes stronger. Right? Tim Bradley never knocked down. Tim Bradley got hurt. Even in the round that Tim Bradley got hurt, if you go back and you watch that round, that was actually one of Tim Bradley's best rounds in the whole fucking fight. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it's just so funny how these WBO judges, which their opinions are obviously not as valid as the judges who sat there and watched the fight live and didn't listen to HBO, didn't listen to the media, didn't listen to John McCain, didn't listen to any of them. But what I found interesting is out of the 5 judges, a couple of the judges, they actually gave round 4 to Tim Bradley, which, by the way, was one of Manny Pacquiao's best rounds. And it was only Manny Pacquiao's best round because why? Because he hurt Tim Bradley with a left hand. Nevertheless, that's my little brief comparison to the Cotto fight. I didn't even have to say that because, like I said, it was already obvious that Miguel Cotto was way more of an ass whooping, if you want to call it that, than the Tim Bradley fight. We already know that. Okay? So I just debunked exactly what you Pacquiao fans are suggesting, which is it made no sense to fight Tim Bradley because that fight was easy. Oh, but who was Pacquiao's first choice of opponent? And Freddie Roach's, by the way. It was Miguel Cotto. All right? Now, this is what I'm going to do, since every now and then I always get someone who sends me a message and they say, they obviously haven't been watching my videos. So for the people who always send me a message, who do you think won that fight between Bradley and Manny Pacquiao? I'm going to put a response video on this one. It'll be somewhere in the response area where you leave your comments, and you could go ahead and you could watch my old post fight Pacquiao versus Bradley fight, and then you can see how I came up with my decision on who I thought won. But one more time, like I said, guys, it no longer matters who we thought won anymore. What's interesting is how Manny Pacquiao is behaving, how he's behaving today. Okay? Now I want to compare Marquez to Bradley when it comes to opponents for Manny Pacquiao. Why would Manny Pacquiao perceive Marquez as a little bit of an easier opponent? I'm going to break that down to you right now. Now, before I break this down, understand, guys, I've already said this on numerous occasions on a lot of my videos. I believe both Marquez and Bradley have a very good chance of beating Manny Pacquiao. I believe Bradley has even more of a chance. Now let me tell you why. Let's start with Marquez. And before I even break this down, see, this is the problem with a lot of fans and a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans in particular. See, you guys are looking at this shit from a fan's perspective. You guys are not trying to look at this from Manny Pacquiao's perspective. You understand? When you say stuff like he wanted to fight easy, there's no reason to fight Bradley again. This and that. There's no money in the rematch. It was this and this. When you're saying all of these things, number one, you have to realize you guys are not saying anything that corroborates with what Team Pacquiao is saying. That's how we know that you're just doing fan talk. Because if you've been following the news, Team Pac, they had never said, we don't want to fight Tim Bradley because we beat him easy. It ain't no money in the fight. He looked like shit. Blah, 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 blah. Team Pacquiao has never said that. Okay? Manny Pacquiao himself said that he wanted a rematch after the Bradley fight when he was interviewed. If Manny thought the way you fans thought, wouldn't Manny say, no, I don't want a rematch because I beat this man easy? Everyone already seen that I beat him easy. Why would I want to fight him again? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fight Marquez because Marquez is the toughest opponent out there. He's the only one that would give me a real fight. Did you guys hear Did you hear Manny Pacquiao say any of that? Freddie Roach, he has been completely mute on the situation. He hasn't said anything about Tim Bradley, number one. Number two, Team Pacquiao, his attorneys, everyone surrounding him, from the websites and the sources I've been reading, they had specifically said that Tim Bradley, he is too risky of an opponent. In a rematch, Tim Bradley's confidence would be higher than it was in the first fight. That is an actual quote, guys. That's not fan talk. That's not me trying to say something to favor one fighter over the other. Okay? The comments that you guys are leaving on blogs and YouTube, these are comments you guys say to put a big ass band-aid on your heart. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, trust me, I know the feeling. You guys are hurt because you don't want to admit, you don't want to acknowledge my guy, my idol is afraid of somebody. He doesn't have the heart that I've always cherished him for having. My guy is not the best anymore. So psychologically, what do? You try to make yourself feel better. So that's what that is. Now let me go ahead and get back into what I was about to say. Marquez. Let's start with Marquez, why he would seem to be somewhat of an easier opponent, just slightly easier. Like I said, he's still going to be difficult, but he's a little bit easier. Marquez is a tremendous counterpuncher. He has a terrific chin. But the problem with Marquez is he is strictly, purely a counterpuncher. He does nothing else. Like Floyd Mayweather famously said in his build-up to fight Marquez. Because, the reporters would say, how are you going to deal with his counterpunching ability? Floyd Mayweather would say, he would say the same thing that I had said, which basically is Marquez is a good counterpuncher, but that's all he does is counterpunch. Marquez, he doesn't walk you down. He doesn't fight in the inside. Okay? He doesn't. Only time Marquez makes it a brawl is if he gets cornered into the ropes and he has to fight his way out. Which, when he does that, he leaves himself wide open. Watch the Katsitas fight. Watch the Juan Diaz fight, both 1 and 2. Okay? Marquez is a great counterpuncher. He lacks defense. He does not know how to fight in the inside. He cannot break you down. On top of all of that I just said, Marquez, in all 3 of the fights against Pacquiao, Marquez has slowed down in the championship rounds. These are all facts, guys. These are all facts. So Pacquiao fans, you don't have to listen to this. Oh, this is some bullshit. This guy is hating on Manny Pacquiao and all this. You don't have to do that, guys. This is fact. You can go back and you can watch all the fights. Everything that I say will be proven if you go back and you watch the Marquez fights. Okay? Marquez does not know how to fight in the inside. Marquez slows down in the championship rounds. Watch the previous fight. Watch their last fight, the third fight, Marquez versus Pacquiao. What was Jim Lampley saying in the last 3 rounds? Well, if Marquez loses this fight, it's his fault because he took his foot off the gas in the last couple of rounds, right? The second fight Marquez had with Pacquiao was the same too. In the last championship rounds, Pacquiao was still nailing Marquez with the left hand, which Pacquiao won some of those championship rounds. I believe they split those championship rounds. Okay? Now let's look at Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley, very good defense. Tim Bradley fights in the inside. Tim Bradley fights in the outside. He throws body punches. Tim Bradley, he finished the fight stronger than Manny Pacquiao did. Right? Those are all good reasons for you to worry. See, like I said, guys, one more time. Don't look at this from a fan's perspective. Look at this from Manny Pacquiao's perspective. How do you guys know if Manny Pacquiao was hurt by a body shot or not? You wouldn't know. There's no way you would know that unless Pacquiao would be honest and he would say it, right? We have to wonder, why did Pacquiao slow down and lose all of the championship rounds for the first time in God knows how long? What made him slow down in those championship rounds? Remember, one of the judges, I forgot his name, but one of the judges who scored the fight for Bradley, when he did an interview with Jim Lampley on Jim Lampley's TV show, he said, a lot of headshots were missing. But what I could see clearly was Bradley landing a lot of good body punches. Okay? Tim Bradley was trying his best every now and then, not all the time. He was trying his best every now and then to walk Pacquiao down with body punches. How do we know that Pacquiao didn't get hurt with one of those body punches? Remember, Mr. Bias-ass Max Kellerman, he started his post-fight interview off telling Bradley his opinion of the question that he's about to ask before he even got a response by the person that he's about to interview. That, guys, is called terrible journalism. You feel me, guys? You can't voice your opinion. When you're a journalist, when you're a person that interviews someone, you can't tell them what you think of them and then have them answer the question. Because then you influence the answer before you even get an answer. You feel me? I mean, look at what Max Kellerman did with Tim Bradley. Before he even asked Tim Bradley, the question, he says, me and everybody sitting at the table, we thought Manny Pacquiao won this fight by a landslide. How do you think you did? Of course his answer is going to be altered now, right? Of course his answer is going to be different, And then he goes even further. Well, the stats show this and this and that, and he keeps doing it, right? And Manny Pacquiao, it's funny because at the beginning, Manny Pacquiao was looking sad. He was standing right next to Bradley. Manny was looking all sad. The more Max talked, the more Pacquiao, he started to giggle. He started to feel better, right? And by the time Max, interviews Manny Pacquiao, he says, do you think you won the fight? Of course this man is going to say, hell yeah, I think I won the fight. Because because Max just told everybody, we all thought you won the fight by a landslide. So do you think you won the fight, champion? Of Of course he's going to say he thought he won the fight. That's why you don't do that. You want to get an honest answer from a person. You feel me? You can't get an honest answer when you tell somebody, I thought you won the fight, before you even hear what they thought. You tell Tim Bradley, before you answer, buddy, I just want to let you know, we all thought you got your ass whooped. We all thought you lost the fight by a landslide. So, how do you think you did in the fight? Do you think you won the fight? Come on, man. Like I've said this before, Larry Merchant, who is extremely biased, but Larry Merchant, I remember after the Oscar De La Hoya Pernell Whitaker fight, Larry interviewed both fighters. He interviewed Pernell Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker, kept saying, I won the fight, I won the fight. Larry Merchant never voiced his opinion through the interview. And once Pernell Whitaker walked away, Larry Merchant turned to the camera and he said, Jim, by the way, I thought Pernell Whitaker won the fight. Why did he do it that way? He did it that way so he did not influence the questions that he was trying to ask. Okay? Like I said, if you watch politics, you see the president getting interviewed, you see any type of politician, the general attorney, the vice president. When you see someone get interviewed, the journalist, the reporter, he is specifically asking questions. Never, you will seldomly see a reporter give his own personal opinion. I think you're a Muslim. I think you're the worst president in the world. I think you're the greatest president in the world. How do you think you rank as a president? I hate you. I can't stand you. How do you think you're doing as a president? They never ask questions like that because it will persuade the answer. Okay? So enough about that. And like I said, one more time, the whole reason I brought that up is because Manny Pacquiao, he is not going to tell you he got hurt with a body shot. Manny Pacquiao is not going to tell you that was the toughest fight that I've ever been in. I mean, Manny Pacquiao would have to be a complete dumbass, wouldn't he? To say, I wasn't sure if I won the fight. The fight was really close. I have to go home and watch it on tape. He would be a dumbass to say that because Max Kellerman already set up his answer before he even had a chance to answer it. Right? I mean, you can even go back to the Claudia fight. And Manny Pacquiao, he's sitting there in the post-fight interview with his face all lumped up, and he's telling, I don't know if it was Max or if it was Larry, but he's telling them that was a very difficult fight. That was one of my hardest fights I've ever had because Claudia is a tremendous counterpuncher. I never knew when he was going to counter. He had a hard defense. You know why he was so honest? Because the person interviewing him didn't go in there saying, we thought you beat his ass by a landslide. You feel me? They didn't go in there saying that. So Pacquiao was completely honest. When Pacquiao beat the shit out of Margarito, he was honest about him being hurt by the head. He was honest about him being hurt to the body. Why was he honest in that fight? He was honest in that fight because he knew that he had already beat the dog shit out of Margarito. So it's easier to be honest and say, yeah, I got hurt with this because you beat the dog shit out of him. But in the Bradley fight, he didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? And not only did he not know that, but Max Kellerman already told him, listen, you ain't even got to answer the question. You won this fight easy. Okay? Don't you get on this microphone and say nothing stupid, man. You got it? I already gave you your goddamn answer. Now you just go along with the goddamn interview. That's pretty much what Max Kellerman did. Okay? That's pretty much exactly what he did. And Larry Merchant, going back on him, I talked about one time he did something positive. I got to talk about when he did something in a negative that was similar to this. When he interviewed Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz after their fight. ridiculous journalism, right? Larry Merchant goes up to Floyd Mayweather and he asks him, he says, well, why did you have to hit him with the why'd you have to hit him, with the cheap shot, right? Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? Never, not one time does Larry Merchant bring up the headbutt. Larry Merchant actually doesn't even bring up the headbutt until Floyd Mayweather has to bring it up to defend himself, right? And then Larry Merchant goes over to Victor Ortiz and he starts answering questions for Victor Ortiz before Victor Ortiz says one word out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing. You could go back and watch the post-fight interview. But Larry Merchant, he pretty much says, was it an accident when you did the headbutt? Were you just, trying to move around and you accidentally, you know what I'm saying? He was setting up the question like he was a defense attorney interviewing his client. You know what I'm saying? On the stand. That's pretty much what he did. This is not journalism, guys, and this is not interviewing someone. This is speaking on their behalf is what it is. All right? Okay. So we went through a couple things, right? I talked about why Marquez is an easier opponent. I talked about the different perspectives from a fan's perspective to Manny Pacquiao's perspective. All right? And one last thing I want to talk about is how this fight will play out. Keys to victory. I've already said this before. Manny Pacquiao's his keys to victory if he really wanted to win this fight, but I don't believe he has these keys in his arsenal, right? In his arsenal. He doesn't have these keys, so it would be kind of hard for him to use them. But this is what Manny Pacquiao would have to do. Manny Pacquiao would have to do two things. Manny Pacquiao would have to take tremendous risk. He would have to cut off the ring. He would have to bully Marquez and corner him on the ropes in the corner. He would have to keep the fight there at least 2/3 of the entire fight. Okay? It wouldn't even have to be 2/3. It could even be 1/3. It could be every now and then sporadically, do something like that every round just to win the round. Because like I told you guys before, Marquez is a controlled counterpuncher. Okay? He doesn't like to fight in the inside, but Pacquiao doesn't like to fight in the inside. Pacquiao would have to fight in the inside. Pacquiao would have to bully Marquez. He would have to take a chance. And this is something that Pacquiao has not really been willing to do. Outside of him throwing that left hand, he doesn't do anything else after that. He follows, tries to land the left hand, and then, it's the same pattern all night. Okay? He also would have to establish his jab. Because, see, this is what Floyd Mayweather did. But I have to say it would be easier for Floyd Mayweather to do this because Floyd Mayweather is a better boxer. Floyd Mayweather can hit you with any single punch at will. Manny Pacquiao can only hit you with the left hand. Like I said, if Manny Pacquiao is fighting against a brawler, then he can hit you with anything. He can hit you with the hooks, the uppercuts, the slide to the side, throw the right hook, left hook. He'll hit you with everything when he's fighting against a tailor-made opponent. But when he's fighting against an intelligent fighter with defense, such as Marquez, such as Bradley, this is when he is limited to only landing his favorite punch. So like I was saying, what Floyd Mayweather basically did in his fight with Marquez, Floyd Mayweather understood that Marquez would just sit around and wait for the counter. So see, Floyd Mayweather is so intelligent. What Floyd did is he walked Marquez down. And he kept popping Marquez with the jab. But he wasn't just throwing the jab. He was landing the jab. And he was landing the jab hard. Okay? So what Floyd Mayweather basically looked at it like this. He was like, okay, Marquez, so you're going to sit back and you're going to try to wait and catch me with a counter shot. Okay, so while you sitting around waiting, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop you with jabs all night. Which, in a way, is nothing but bait because Marquez eventually he's going to take the bait. You know, when you keep popping somebody in the face, especially somebody with heart like Marquez, he immediately wants payback, right? So while Floyd is popping Marquez with the jab over and over, that's when Marquez says, fuck this. Now I got to lead and jump on him. And as soon as Marquez tries to lead and jump on Floyd, then that's when Floyd moves to the side and catches him with all kind of counter shots, right? And then as the fight gradually started to go on and go on, Marquez began to get more and more frustrated. Then Floyd Mayweather started leading with all kind of shit. He leading with the right hand. He leading with jump in hooks. You know, he's completely frustrating him. And then by the the later rounds, Floyd Mayweather was just coming in with combinations. Okay? Now that's how Floyd Mayweather beat Marquez and beat him very easy. Manny Pacquiao is a different type. He's a different type of animal and not so good of a way. Manny Pacquiao doesn't have those type of intangibles, okay? But that's what he would have to do to beat Marquez. He would have to either sell out, get in and stick his head in the meat grinder and try to make it a Juan Diaz-Katsitas fight. Or he would have to hurry up and damn near be like the Matrix and, open up a book and study chapter Floyd Mayweather intelligence, you know what I'm saying, and jump in the ring with that knowledge. If only this was a movie, but it ain't no damn movie. And Manny Pacquiao, he ain't gonna learn this shit over a chapter. All right? So his best bet is to sell out. Now, what do I think Marquez needs to do? I basically think Marquez, he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. He needs to not only fight on his back foot, he needs to also fight on his lead foot. Because that's Marquez. Marquez, he could have won those last two fights very easy. But the problem with Marquez is he's sitting around waiting too long. Like I said, Marquez is a great counterpuncher, but Marquez has to lead every now and then. Okay? He has to lead every now and then. If Marquez would have just stepped on the gas a little bit more in the last fight, he would have been able to win that fight. But actually, you know what? I'll take that back. He still would have lost the fight. They still would have gave it to fucking Pacquiao because I think one of the judges had Pacquiao up by like 7 points in that last Marquez-Pacquiao fight. So it still would have went to Pacquiao. But nevertheless, this is what Marquez would have to do. Marquez would have to lead, So in a certain way, both of these guys, are a mirror image of each other, if I could put it that way. They both have the same problem. They both have the same problem that they need to fix to guarantee a victory. Both of these fighters are in the ring trying to counterpunch. Pacquiao is chasing more, but he's only trying to land his left. Marquez is only trying to land his right. And they are both making this fight very close. So I mean, the bottom line is the fight can go either way. I think they probably are going to still give it to Manny Pacquiao unless Marquez does what I said, which is, put his foot on the gas a little bit more and gets aggressive. But this fight, nevertheless, is a joke. This fight is a joke. This fight is a rerun. It will look totally identical to the last three fights. It's a ridiculous fight to have when someone just beats you for the first time in 7 years, regardless of what you guys think of the decision. Okay? Like I said before, Manny Pacquiao against Tim Bradley. No matter how you look at it, the scenario can go different ways. The fight will look a lot different in a rematch. Why? Because regardless if you believe it or not, Tim Bradley, he injured himself. He fought on injured feet. And if you watch that fight, you can see both of his feet leaning inward. You can see him kind of walking around, hobbling like his feet are damn near numb. You can see that, but you don't have to believe that. That's where the suspense comes in. Was he telling the truth? And Manny Pacquiao, like I said, can he adjust from those championship rounds that he lost? Right? Can Manny Pacquiao find a way to land anything other than the left hand? Right? Will Bradley have more confidence like Team Pacquiao said? Since Tim Bradley is a boxer and a thinking fighter, now he can go back and watch a tape of what he's already done. Will he be more impressive? Like I said, guys, a lot of people who have watched this fight, a lot of Pacquiao fans, even Marquez fans, they know deep down that Tim Bradley has a chance of beating Manny Pacquiao. This is the reason why they don't want to see the fight, because they don't want it to be Tim Bradley. I had an argument with a guy, or a debate, on one of my videos a couple weeks ago. A complete Pacquiao fan using all the same talking points that they always use, right? He kept sitting there saying, oh, everything that I said before. There's no reason to have that fight, blah, 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 blah. The exact same talking points, right? And this is basically what I said to him. I asked him, and I think I might have said this before on a video, but I asked him, I said, let me ask you this question. If Manny Pacquiao were to lose against Tim Bradley versus losing to Juan Manuel Marquez, who would he have more to lose to? Manny Pacquiao. Who would he have more to lose to? This is when this guy surprisingly said, look, dude, I'll admit that makes all the sense in the world. I'll admit that if Bradley were to fight Pacquiao again, he probably would beat Manny Pacquiao. But guess what? It's too late because Bradley already had his chance and he blew it. Right? This is what the guy said. And I'm telling you guys, this guy was a straight Pacquiao fan. You could pretty much call him a Pac-tar. You feel me? He sent me a gang of messages, but then when I asked him that question, I shut him down. And he was honest. And this is what a lot of Pacquiao fans think. Because like I said before, if Manny Pacquiao has fought Marquez 3 times and the judges have never went against him, he fights Bradley just 1 time and the judges go against him. Who do you think Pacquiao would be more comfortable fighting to where the judges would possibly favor him? It's obvious it would be Marquez, right? Because this is what's stuck in Manny Pacquiao's head. I fought Bradley 1 time. The judges, they thought he won. See, you got to look at it from Manny Pacquiao's perspective. Regardless if you want to believe it or not, Pacquiao is sitting there saying to himself, I must have did something wrong. He knows he did something wrong. People keep talking about this being a robbery. But you guys name me one fight where a fighter was robbed and he lost all of the championship rounds. It has seldomly ever happened in the history of the sport. Okay? So that's really all I got to say about this fight. This is going to be the first Manny Pacquiao fight that I don't order on pay-per-view because I think that this fight is worthless. I think this fight is a joke. It's going to look just like all the other fights. I'd rather wait for this shit to be over with and just read the results. As far as I'm concerned, this fight is not even worth buying. It's just a fucking rerun that I've watched a million times over and over again. Okay? So this is all I got to say on this. And I'll catch up with you guys. I'm on to the next one, y'all.